It is so sad. There is a point when the presider says to the congregation of faithful, "Lift up your hearts." And the congregation responds, "We lift them up to the Lord." He does not say, "Lift up your cell phones to take a photo or record this next bit." No. But I tell you, it makes me so sad when observing one of these great holy days of the year, the Passion of the Lord, Easter Vigil, Easter, Pentecost, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, Epiphany, and all of those gathered in the great St. Peter Basilica, or for the Passion, all of those that gather out in the great, great gathering space in front of the Basilica. And they are not participating in the service. No. When the presider says, "Lift up your hearts," which is the beginning of the Eucharistic service, they lift up their cell phones, or they are fussing with their electronics, or helping their kids with their electronics, or the kids are helping their grandparents with their electronics so they can film the next part. You can only see it in the congregation of the faithful, but it is obvious and really stands out amongst the priests and even the bishops, because the brightness of a cell phone screen stands out against the dark clerical garb of the High Mass. Please, please, whether you be Catholic, Anglican, Lutheran, Methodist, or any other congregation of Protestantism, having a cell phone in church, whether it be to record the service or Mass, and most especially the Eucharistic service, is not a spectacle. It is going to encounter the passion and resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. It is not entertainment. It is not something you ever record, because that is a sin. For you are not then participating in the service. You're external to it. It is like you are a scribe or a Pharisee yourself. You're observing to see if there's any mistakes. So you can watch it later and say, look what he did there. That's not right. You're also watching. Again, why? The celebrant says, "Lift up your hearts." And the congregation responds, "We lift them up to the Lord," to show that our hearts are His, to show that we're ready for Him to enter us, to show that we are His sheep, that our hearts are human and not stone. And we ask, what does this mean? Why do people do this? I don't know. There are children born today that go to church and they have never, ever witnessed anything with their own eyes. Because everything they have seen only through their armpits or through their arms extended. And I commented once at an event through which I was working security, and I said it loud enough so that everyone around me could hear it. I said, you know, it's so sad that all of these people were born with their eyes in their armpits. And some of the people that are of an age understood immediately what I meant. But those who had their arms up in the air because they were holding 2 and 3 cell phones didn't understand what I meant. Imagine in your life that the only things you ever see are those things which you have recorded with a cell phone. As a person who is going blind, when I went to the Vatican in 16, I took off my glasses, the ones that shelter my eyes, because I had to see this work with my eyes. I couldn't witness it through any force, any substance, any interfering thing. And I took off my glasses in the Sistine and had tears running down my cheeks. Not because it was so beautiful, but because it hurt so damn much. And then in a couple of the galleries of the museum, for instance, when I first saw Caravaggio's Entombment, I took off my glasses and I nearly had blood pouring from my eyes. I had them off for so long. But that is how beautiful and how entrancing that work was, is. I could never experience this world through a cell phone screen. As a photographer, when I travel, I do not carry my gear with me. It stays locked and secure. And I go out and play and find what I want to shoot. And on the final day, I am like a whirlwind. And I go back and make all of those shots that I have taken tests with my cell phone. And you'll be thinking, why would you do it that way? Because I am a professional. And when you're shooting to film, which still to this day holds the greatest quality of color, I don't want to have to carry that gear with me as I used to have to. Because it's 12 to 15 pounds, then the lenses. I don't want to have to carry that, especially on my crutches. Or on my wheelchair, it's not so much bad, problem, but on crutches, carrying an extra 12 to 15 pounds, that's major. And it's a front-wearing pack. It's a backpack, but for the front. And that is not comfortable. So the next time you see all of these people with their arms in the air, ask them, do you see through your armpits? Excuse me, do you also see through your armpits? And they won't understand you. They'll think you're daft. But all of the people over 45 will understand you and start to laugh. Because if you can only see with your arms held straight in the air, obviously your eyes are in your armpits. We do not want cell phones at our sacraments, not in church, not ever during a service. During a wedding or a baptism, the time to take photos or record is very, very discreet. In weddings, during the actual physical vows, the kiss, or the endless lighting of that damned unity candle. I had one as a wedding coordinator that went on for 12 minutes, as they didn't do as they had been told to pre-light the wick. That way, when you go up there with those little stems, poof, it lights quickly, and the bride is so flammable. Everything she's wearing is flammable, and then she puts hairspray over it to make sure that she'll go with the first spark. That bride is gone. And then she wants to light a candle and hold a wick right up to her face. Yeah, make sure you've got 2 fire extinguishers right next to the altar. And I'm not kidding. For she will literally go up in seconds. I've set up demonstrations with the fire department with a wedding gown and a dummy made up to look like a bride, with all of the hair extensions and all of the hair done up with all of the folderol. And 7.5 seconds for her to have 3rd-degree burns and be dead. And as they step off the altar, which is called the presentation of Mr. and Mrs., Mrs. and Mrs., however what they're being called, and off they go. In the baptism, as the baby is first held over the baptismal font, that is the only time you may shoot. And then afterwards. No other times are non-sacramental. All the rest are while the Lord is present. The water, oil, garment, be ready. For the presider may hold up the infant, or allow a presentation of family over the font, then complete the final prayers. But there is no other time. No other time when you may have a camera or cell phone in charge.